Okay, guys, welcome to another question answer round with the Raptoreum team. We have a list of questions here from the community, and we're going to work our way through them and answer them in as much detail as we can get. We're going to do this video for 20 to 25 minutes and cram as much as we can in there. Okay, Piggy, I'm going to read the questions out and we'll just go through them, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay, RBA says many people were talking that the merge for ETH will help them to increase the operating per second, 20 if I remember in POW, to more in proof of stake. How many operations will RTM do per second under proof of work? Can RTM beat ETH in all terms? Hope you understood what I meant.
Yeah. I mean, if we're looking at transactions per second, at the moment we can do around 45 or something like that, a little bit more than Bitcoin. That's, however, not really the whole picture. What we're doing with assets, futures, and contract transactions is we're moving them onto the nodes, so they can run at a much, much higher rate on the nodes. For just everyday payments, 45 transactions per second seem to be perfectly adequate at the moment. I don't see BTC having major congestion problems after the last couple of code upgrades on there. There have been some, but that's been in connection with absurd market activity. And I mean, if you get the equivalent on Visa or MasterCard, they'll start having data centers go down. So we're not going to beat ETH in all terms, no. We are going to be probably as fast as they are. But not for all types of transactions. Contract transactions, asset transactions, and futures transactions, once developed fully, yes, certainly, very easily. But not base coin initially. We're going to be looking at that once we get to where we want to be with moving the assets, futures, and contract transactions onto the nodes.
Okay, how RTM can get room in the ecosystem of Chainlink, allowing interconnection and make RTM the best one?
We don't want a room in the Chainlink ecosystem. It's really as simple as that. Currently, Chainlink are using collateralized nodes to act as oracles. However, they're doing so in a relatively linear fashion. Or at least they were the last time I looked. What we're going to be doing is we're going to have smaller groups of nodes that could be anywhere on the net, checking prices from other chains on a contract, and then they can provide that data to anybody else in the RTM or any other ecosystem for that matter.
Okay, Binance lost approximately $100 million due to hackers. Actually, I think it was more than that. So could RTM be hacked the same way on Binance platform? That's from RBA as well.
But I mean, that's for the. I think this is about the latest Binance Smart Chain hack.
Yeah. I think so.
This was a Cosmos bridge that got hacked somehow. They forged a Merkle tree proof on it. I mean, if they can forge a Merkle tree proof and the ranges for those Merkle tree proofs are at a level where that's doable, then Binance really need to up their security. and so do Cosmos. That's rather shocking if that's possible. It is fast, it is nice. No, there's no chance at all of us being hacked in that manner unless we are inside some third-party bridge. In a third-party bridge, yes, this can definitely be done, but then it's not really us being hacked. And it wasn't so much really Binance Smart Chain being hacked as it was the Cosmos bridge being hacked. So theoretically, someone could do RTM proofs, but they wouldn't be targeting RTM. If they could do RTM proofs, they'd be going after Bitcoin, because there's just so much more money involved, and they'd have a similar complexity.
Okay, I like 12357 says, technically, will the development of external applications be necessary to implement the assets in RTM, or will it be possible to incorporate any NFT directly from the tools that are being developed?
I am not sure what he means by that. I mean, you're going to be able to create an NFT just with your RTM wallet. If he means anything outside the scope of that, like can you import stuff from ETH? Maybe. I don't know what formatting they're using. Some of it, maybe, if it's on IPFS. There's no reason why you couldn't move an IPFS hash onto another chain. But you will only need basically the wallet. No coding, nothing fancy, no contracts to deploy or anything like that.
Cool. All right. Next one is from Crypto Gamey, who says, when are you going to update the website to a more visually appealing one? Is there an estimated year? Oh no, we'll do that one first. We're currently updating the website at the moment. We've just had our first demo slide, which came in last week, I think it was now. It's looking pretty cool. Kieran from the community is working on it, and Charlie's overseeing that as well. It's coming along very nicely, and we should have an update for everybody real soon. But one thing we must reiterate is we're not going to rush anything. We're going to do it right, and that's all that matters. Okay, the next question is there an estimated year to have smart contracts in operation? So they're not asking for months now, they're asking for years.
Yeah, okay. Well, define operation if on mainnet.
Well,
I would be guessing at end of next year. If we're talking about them being out there so you can play with them and things like that. Testnet, yeah, next year for certain.
Awesome.
But more detail than that? No. It's 2022. The world is being funky. That can mess with the best laid plans. For example, we had a developer during 2021 have to go into lockdown, and instead of being able to work 30 hours a week on RTM, he had all his kids at home 24/7, in which case you can't really code. It's given the current situation the world is in, we're not going to make any promises. We should be out. We are certainly going to be out next year on a test net. On the main net, it depends on things. Too much is up in the air. When
you're developing something that has not been done before, you have to make sure it's well tested. So we're not going to rush any of that. Okay, Leon says, can you tell us something about the developers and why you think they will be able to get the job done?
Well, I mean, we've got a lot of people with a lot of experience. I'm probably one of the people around with the most experience overall in the space. But on the development side, we've got the right skill set where everybody complements everybody else on the team now. We've got 2 developers who are very experienced with Apache Spark and using it for different types of decentralized operations, as well as having good experience with blockchain. A couple of other developers, one has a long track record of quality assurance and security. The other designs flight systems for rockets. So it doesn't get any more demanding than that, really.
Yeah, rocket scientist. Yeah, Tree's pretty skilled as well.
He's one of the Spark experts, which is where the idea originated, and it makes sense.
And then Jake is a specialist in Apache Spark.
Yep.
So that helps the situation of smart contracts as well.
Yep, exactly. So priority 1 is keep the current team motivated, working, and but I mean, it's easy to see right now what's going on. Things are coming into GitHub almost daily at the moment.
Daily, multiple things every single day. It's impressive. And in the current light of the markets, having a development team that's consistent like that we're so lucky to have that, and we really appreciate the work that they do. It's
absolutely brilliant. It's probably one of the hardest things to actually achieve. So now we just need to keep them happy and keep it rolling, and we'll get there.
Okay, Jane says, what will happen exactly when we hit block 420, 420?
Right. A couple of things are going to pop up and go live in your wallet. The things that are going to pop up and go live in your wallet are the ability to send futures transactions. Futures transactions are time-locked transactions that can be used for a variety of things. If you look at them on the payment side only, they're maybe not the world's most glorious thing, but if you look at the possibilities of what they open up for, with assets in place, with contracts in place as well, it's a completely different ballpark and ball game, because we've got it on the base layer. It's essentially on the first level of the protocol. It's not like an additional contract layer or VM layer above the protocol itself, which means with a couple of very simple calls, no complex code, no exploitable code that can go wrong or anything like that, you can lock up items in a game for a specific period of time. You can delay, let's say you're a miner, you want to sell some coins, but you don't want to affect the market right now. You deliver the coins now, get paid now, but the coins won't be available to spend until a month or 3 months later, or whatever kind of contract you decide to sell. What else? It can be used for putting deposits down where the deposits aren't spendable until you can actually take possession if it's a property. You can use it for all kinds of things. There are a wide range of options from having this in, and we've used it to basically put in the rails we are going to be using for assets and for contracts as well. The way they're going to be handled as special transactions with an additional payload on the blockchain, on their own index on the chain. Meaning, if you think of a blockchain as a giant Excel spreadsheet, it's essentially the Excel spreadsheet from hell. A database. Anything to do with futures goes in its own column, which means we can take that column out later, move it onto the nodes so it can function as its own chain on the nodes. We've used it to basically get that in place and to get our fee adjustment spork in place, so we never face the situation of having stupid amounts of gas paid out on the network, being able to adjust that. And it introduces, as far as I'm aware, we are the first who are actually introducing additional usage-based rewards for nodes at the protocol level. There are Horizon do some things that could be considered usage-based rewards, but they're not as part of the protocol itself. So here, if you're a node holder, node owner, you've got coins and shared nodes, what you need to do is make sure that people are using things. The more people are using it, the more you make. The fees from the network from this go mainly to the node holders. There is the standard mining transaction fee, which goes, of course, to the miners. Yeah, that's what happens at block 420, 420.
Thanks for that. Okay.
Maybe a bit long, but
well, it was a thorough answer. That's what they want to hear, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. What differentiates Raptoreum from its competitors, and why would we choose it instead of other more consolidated projects?
well, we are doing something brand new. We're essentially taking the best elements of what we've seen across the blockchain space and combining it with a new VM solution. Not new VM solution as in it's brand new, but it's new in terms of blockchain. And we're using that to enhance each other. For example, Komodo do side chains. They do them very well. They do them effectively. It is possible to more or less implement side chains from what we're looking at, what we've been talking about with assets, futures, contracts being on their own chains, having a much higher transaction speed, which then just notarizes itself onto the main chain. Contracts, but in common languages, and in common languages where there are scan options available for the functionality of the contracts. Python and Java in particular have several types of scan options available, so you can determine prior to upload what exact functionality the contract is going to have. So hiding an exploit or deliberate exploit in a contract is going to be considerably harder. Yeah, what else was there? Assets. Ravencoin style assets, but implemented completely differently. Meaning assets on the protocol layer, but on a secondary index, and eventually moving onto their own side chain. It's a little bit similar to how Polkadot do it. I believe it's Polkadot. Yeah, it's Polkadot with all their side chains, but with the additional security that comes from basically being an implementation of Komodo sidechain. And we can do, for contracting, we can use our quorums from Dash. We can implement smaller quorum sizes for decentralized data sources. For example, 10 nodes call up price sources for whatever it is you want to determine the price of. And then they vote on who's got correct data set, and then that's forwarded to a contract for execution. We're new. It's not going to be without problems. There are going to be problems along the way. But we are essentially looking at being a significantly more reliable and robust blockchain than anything else out there at the moment. There's not going to be, because we're actually decentralized. We're not just like Ethereum says they're decentralized, but then 95% of their infrastructure or whatever it is on AWS. So AWS can effectively censor Ethereum. Infura can effectively censor what goes on Ethereum. We're not going to have any of that. None.
Okay, just got time for one more question. The next question is the Raptoreum platform only for people with a lot of experience in the crypto world, or can newcomers without much experience have access? Do they give support and advice?
We're always available via the Discord server.
Yeah.
And there's always help to be had either on the Discord, the Telegram, or if it's something more complex, then reach out via those initially, or the emails, partners at raptoreum.com, for example. And we're happy to work out whatever it is you need a hand with.
We're also going to be putting out some guides on how to use futures and maybe some forward-thinking use cases in video for you all as well. So expect to see that soon after we...
and I mean, another point that really should be mentioned here is that you can get started with RTM without really investing anything. If you've got a decent desktop computer, you can mine a little bit, you can play around with it. It will cost you a few hours of power for running your PC. And that means the door is a lot more open than it is with many other projects. I mean, before the merge, to get a meaningful Ethereum payout, you had to have multiple server level machines with quite a few GPUs and sometimes wait a week or two for a payout. Whereas you should be getting a payout once or twice a day, even with a mid-range CPU on RTM. No, sorry, even a low-end modern CPU on RTM.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think that's why why
That's
we were
why,
so successful early on. You know, we got all these gamers jumping on board and realizing they can do a lot more with their CPUs. And
but we also had some very innovative people on board right from the start. Young kids in Chile setting up solar panels and mining with essentially junked office machinery. That's a lot less profitable now, but they were lucky enough to cash out at the high, and they now have more reliable power. They're still mining, but they've also made out well from it. It's how you know you're doing something worthwhile.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, that just about wraps it up for tonight's Q&A. I hope Piggy managed to answer your questions in the way you... Well, it was pretty much in depth. Let's not argue with that. So we will do another question grab soon on Twitter, and you can send us some more questions. It's most likely going to be after Futures now. We will be releasing a lot of media surrounding the Futures, and we'll be pushing out some PR and other things as well. And we have some AMAs and other things coming up. So expect to hear about that, and thanks for supporting us from the start.
We really appreciate it.
As you can see, we've been working hard. We never stopped in the bear market, and we're never going to stop in the bull market. Raptoreum lives on. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.